Hey there everybody, Fox 35 Storm Team Meteorologist Noah Bergen here with an update for you on our website, our news weather apps, and on YouTube. Thanks for checking us out. Tomorrow we've issued a weather impact day. It's not going to be anything extreme, but just want to heighten your awareness that the weather will impact you, hence why we have that branding. There'll be a strong cold front that moves across the state. First thing you should know about, it'll be gusty all day. Outside of any thunderstorms, then there will be a line of scattered showers and storms, and within that there is at least a low chance of a brief tornado and maybe a damaging wind gust or two. Remember, damaging wind does have a definition from the Weather Service in NOAA in the United States that is 60 or higher miles an hour. So whenever you hear me or any other meteorologist refer to damaging wind gust, there is a definition to that. It's 60 and higher miles an hour. It's all part of an enormous system. I mean, it's the time of year, the battle between late winter and spring, the season's changing. This is a common thing this time of the year. Storms happen, yes, but this is a big one. This is a huge one in terms of its intensity and coverage. Winter storm warnings, blizzard warnings, high wind warnings, dust storm, fire warnings, wind advisories, tornado watches. More than half the country is impacted with some kind of alert from this system. You can see the loop from late Tuesday afternoon into evening, kind of resembling an inland tropical system with how it's wrapped up. In this case, you see cold air on the north and western side, and then in the warm sector, the severe weather potential. There's the center of the low. The purple line denotes it's an occluded front, meaning that the storm is bombing out in what we call becoming vertically stacked. In English, what that means is that the storm soon will be reaching its peak intensity when you see that purple line there, and then beneath the warm front and ahead of the cold front, that's the warm sector where there's unstable air flowing like this. Remember, air blows around like this, around low pressure. So from south to north and here, that's where the unstable air is, and hence that's where you find the strong storms. On the water vapor imagery, you can see the very dry air in Texas. There were dust storms today in Dallas, Austin. Look a lot more like the desert Southwest. Strong flow of tropical moisture from the Gulf. But the reason why the tornado threat didn't make it further north today is because the low developed too fast. And because it occluded so soon, the transport northward higher latitudes of that rich Gulf moisture near the surface, that's what's needed to get tornadoes. You know, the humid air, that ceased early in the day. It only got to about my hand. So that's why not all setups are created equal. There's a lot of sources for weather information now on YouTube and online. There was a lot of talk even last week about this being a tornado outbreak. While there has been a lot of severe weather, it's a subtle reminder from me to you that every setup is different, and know who your source is, and that there's a lot of things we can't figure out until really a day or two in advance of a system in terms of severe weather potential. And this one's a great example. The cyclone itself is very intense, but the tornado potential has been really quite limited in coverage and not really that far inland from the Gulf, so it's worth noting that there. This was the view earlier on Tuesday from our sister station Fox 4 in Dallas and Fort Worth. I mean, it looked a lot more like Phoenix and New Mexico and Lubbock rather than Dallas and Fort Worth. They had pretty strong winds early in the morning on Tuesday. Here's the wind gust for the rest of Tuesday night into early Wednesday. Look in Kansas City and in the Midwest, a huge tongue here of strong winds, 50 to 60 to 70 miles an hour from north to south. Then south to north winds ahead of the cold front, the Smoky Mountains, East Tennessee, Georgia, eastern Alabama of 40 to 60 miles an hour, and the wind all wrapping around and into this system, which you can see here as it continues to wind up heading towards Chicagoland. All right, so Wednesday, tomorrow, there is a risk of severe weather on the eastern seaboard from western PA to the Carolinas to Florida. Now, remember, this scale comes from the Storm Prediction Center, a branch of NOAA and the Weather Service, the SPC. And on a scale of 1 to 5, there's a possible mode of severe storms in green, likely mode in yellow, and a very likely mode in orange. So for us in Florida, I want you to see that in green from Tampa to Orlando is a possible mode of some strong to severe storms tomorrow, and in yellow it's likely. So in the green, Tampa and Orlando, an isolated storm turning severe with a 60-mile-an-hour gust and or a brief tornado is possible, but it's not a big threat. And then in the yellow, Gainesville to Palm Coast and north from there, a little bit higher risk of some storms to turn severe. All right, so we start off Wednesday really mild, mid to high 60s. It's way above average for the time of year. Now, before any of the rain and storms, we get into the 80s, especially I-4 and east. Well, the rain comes in sooner, just a high in the mid to high 70s. Gainesville to Ocala, 80 tomorrow, Fort Myers and Sebring, 84 in West Palm, 75 in Tampa, and 83 in Miami. All right, so I mentioned the wind all day Wednesday from the south. Remember that low pressure way in the Midwest? This is all the air that's flowing to it eventually. Remember, on Earth, air blows inward and up to low pressure. So the center of it, wherever it is on Earth, the air is blowing into it, and then once it gets to that center, up into the atmosphere, and then with high pressure, it blows downward and out. So, that's how you understand that there's wind from the south to north tomorrow in Florida, because it's blowing from south to north up to the Virginia area, then, snakes it back into that low into the Midwest. But the gusts here, you see 43 Ocala, 40 in Sanford, 30 to 40, 30 to 45 mile an hour gusts during the morning and midday from the south. There goes the line of storms, a brief break in the wind, then tomorrow evening as cooler air rushes in, wind direction switches to the west, then eventually the northwest, and it will still be gusty heading into Thursday morning. Winds will subside by later Thursday, but it'll be a windy first round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational, which is at Bay Hill on Thursday. All right, so here's that hour-by-hour forecast. Now, tomorrow morning, blend of clouds and sun. It gets more humid, windy weather. Here comes the storms. Now they're fast moving. They're in and they're out. It's not going to last very long in any one spot. So 10 in the morning, Gainesville folks will watch for those storms. By 11, already Ocala. Already by 11:30, the Villages to Jacksonville. Now it's right along that line, right along the leading edge of this line. If there's going to be a couple of damaging wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or a brief tornado or two, would be right on the leading edge of that line. Palm Coast about noon, you see 12:30, Daytona Beach, DeLand, Deltona, Winter Garden, Ocoee, back towards Dade City, crossing Orlando and Winter Park by 1-ish, going towards Titusville by 2-ish, Kissimmee by 2-ish. Then once it gets to the Space Coast, it just kind of falls apart. Then the sky will rapidly clear Wednesday evening. By Thursday morning, when the sun comes up here 7, it is completely clear. All right, so I mentioned that pressure in the Midwest. Now, you might remember from hurricane season, we expressed pressure from a system in millibars. That's the unit meteorologically to express pressure. And when the pressure is lower, the system is stronger. But what it literally means is that the weight of the atmosphere is less on you. You may not realize it, but the atmosphere is exerting constantly a force down on you from up above. When there's high pressure, the weight of the atmosphere is much, much more because the air is sinking. Now, when the air is rising in low pressure, going into the cyclone, many people have migraines and body aches. It's a common thing. And you see the pressure readings here tomorrow. Quincy, Illinois, 982 millibars. That's what you'd see a Cat 1 or even a Cat 2 hurricane hit in Florida at that pressure intensity. You can see some of the March records, for example, St. Louis, the pressure record of 982.1 millibars in March from 1924 could be in jeopardy. So this could be a record-setting storm there in terms of how low and deep the pressure is in parts of Missouri. And going into Chicago, if you're from the Chicagoland area, you're no stranger, and that area is no stranger to storms. And this one could be a record setter for March by the pressure reading, including the wind. This is a Wednesday morning. Pressure of the equivalent of a Cat 1 or 2 hurricane. You see in Chicago, the record is 978.7 millibars for the month of March, from March 1st, 1902. And tomorrow could be at 978 millibars, which would be a new record. So certainly notable stuff there. Now, behind this system, it gets chilly again. For one more day and night, look at Friday morning. 40 Ocala, 44 Orlando. This is what it'll feel like with the wind. Add about 5 degrees for the air temperature, or add about maybe 3-4 degrees for the air temperature. It's going to feel cold out the door early Friday morning. So we'll be here watching the radars for you on Fox 35 on Wednesday. We'll have any coverage and updates should we have severe storm warnings and tornado warnings sometime between about 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. moving quickly across the central part of the peninsula. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Fox 35 Storm Team Meteorologist Noah Berggren. Have a great night. See you soon.